Joel Davies, welcome to the Personal Best podcast.
Thank you very much for having me.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. You okay?
Yeah. This is your first one as a guest.
First one as a guest.
Am I right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Well, very excited to have you here. Can I just ask you to start with, give me a little personal intro for anyone listening who might not already know you?
Yep. Okay, so my name is Joel Davies. I'm 21 years old. I started posting fitness content back in lockdown. I did kind of like funny fitness tutorial videos, just kind of like telling people how to get bigger, but doing it in a bit of a comical way.
Mm-hmm.
And then just recently, last year in July, I competed in my first ever natural bodybuilding show, which is like a big part of my like career, I would say. And it's a lot of people like knew me for doing that. So kind of progressed from doing like little funny videos in my garage to doing the natural bodybuilding show, which is probably like the most successful thing that I've done like in content wise.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice. And I was really excited to have you on because I haven't spoke to anybody yet who has competed in a bodybuilding show. And it's not something I really know much about, but it's always intrigued me. But just before we get into all that side of things, I know you mentioned there that you started creating content. Give me a little bit more detail. How did Joel Davies become JDaverFit?
JDaverFit, yeah. So I've always kind of enjoyed watching YouTube, and it's always been like an interest of mine ever since I was like probably like 12 years old. It's a lot of kids like dreams, isn't it? Like to be a YouTuber, because you watch loads of YouTube.
Me and my friends had
I
want
to be a YouTuber one day. Yeah, you're like, oh, me and the boys were gonna move into a big YouTuber house when we're older. But so I wouldn't say I tried too many YouTube like channels and stuff, but I did some football videos back in the day with my little brother. Tried a few little things. Did some actual like Nerf war videos with my friend as well.
That's cool.
But they're off the internet now, unfortunately. And then, so I'd never actually really gone through with it. And then lockdown came around with COVID. And I thought, all right, I've just gotten into the gym recently. This is like my perfect time to really try some content, because we're in lockdown. No one can take the mick out of me, because that's what I was always scared about doing in the first place. So I thought, we're in lockdown. Everyone's at home. It's not like I'm going to go to school or college the next day. I'm going to see anyone. They're going to be like, oh, Joel saw that video. You look like an idiot. So I just thought, all right, I didn't know how long lockdown was going to go on for, but I just thought, right, I've got this amount of time. Let's just try and get as much stuff out as physically possible and just really try to make this work. So then when I come back, and if people do take the mick, at least I can say, well, I've got something to show for it. So I'm not really too asked about you taking the mick out of anything. So so I just started with doing like lockdown home workouts.
Yeah.
Just any random creative stuff, just doing like push-ups with like backpacks on, doing like push-ups on the stairs and stuff like that. Just trying to show people how to like stay fit from home pretty much.
That's so impressive. Yeah. I mean, you look at your like social media now, you've got nearly 300,000 followers between Instagram and YouTube. And to think that there was a point where you were nervous to start posting content because of what people would say is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But give me a little bit more detail about how you got into fitness. Obviously, that's the majority of your content. How did it become a real like passion of yours?
So I haven't got like it's a little bit of a weird story. So when I first started the gym, I was just literally did it because I played at quite a decent level of football. And I just wanted to get a bit stronger, because I was just one of always like the smaller kids on the football team. And because I'm from a small town in Weymouth, and as I was progressing in my football career, and I was getting like closer to like the centre of England, it always felt like I was playing against players that were like so much bigger than me. Like no one from my hometown. No one's like big and strong.
That was the same with my school.
Yeah, it was so weird.
We do like netball games. I'm like, why am I playing with adult women?
Yeah, no, literally. I would literally like the more I would, if I was like playing for county and I would go play against, I was like, why are they feeding these guys? These guys are huge. I'm literally, and I'm just like a little guy. So I started the gym literally just to get a bit stronger for football.
Sure.
And then I actually had appendicitis. So that's just where your appendix, but basically I was misdiagnosed for like a week or two.
Right.
So the doctor just told me, so I went into the doctors because I had this really bad pain, like excruciating pain, and I was just throwing up, and it's really horrible. So I went to the doctors and I was like, something's wrong here. Like, and he was just like, oh, it's just food poisoning. Just like go back and just sleep it off and you'll be fine in a couple of days. A couple of days go past. I'm hurting so bad. Like I'm literally like crying to my mum. I'm like, Mum, this is unbearable. So, and then I go back to another doctor's because I'm like, this guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. So then I go to another woman and she tells me that it's something else, but not appendicitis. So she gives me some antibiotics. She's like, this should like help clear it up. So and then I go back home, and it's like another 3 or 4 days, and I'm literally in so much pain that I literally cannot move. So my mum and Nan, they come up to my bedroom, and they're like helping me down the stairs because they're taking me to the doctors again. And I go in, and I'm in the waiting room, and I'm literally crying my eyes out because I'm in so much pain. And I you won't even believe it, but I go into the doctor's after I'm in this much pain, and he tells me it's still food poisoning.
Where have they got this from?
Honestly, I have no clue. And I'm literally, my mum is pointing to me and like, this is not food poisoning.
Yeah.
So and then I go home and I just go to bed that night. And the next morning, my mum and dad, I've woken up and I'm literally like, they can tell that something's like, this is bad. Like something bad's gonna happen any second. So they take me. It was like 30 minutes down the road, just to like the real big hospital. Going to the big hospital, my mum is literally like, she's like worried about her son, so she's like, I demand to have an X-ray, right, or whatever, the CAT scan, whatever it is. Like, he needs to be checked out right now. So they agreed, come in, and they literally say he needs to have an operation right now. Literally right now, he's like gonna die.
So it was a burst appendix.
Yeah, so it had burst for like a few days ago, and then when it burst, there's like just like all this like poisonous stuff that goes around your body, and and you do die from it if it's not like ejected out of your body. So pretty much, like, obviously it was great that I just got to the hospital, but I had to go in for an operation. I think it was literally the next morning or the night time. And it was basically, you just have to have this tube inserted into you, and then it just like drains all the stuff out. But those doctors had essentially nearly killed me
because
they were just
it and
misdiagnosing me. Honestly, we never got around to like sorting out in the end because the recovery process was quite long.
Yeah. But, so was that quite a transformative point then in this journey?
So sorry, I'll come back to that. So pretty much, I had started the gym, made a little bit of progress, and then this happened to me. And I was the skinniest point of my life, literally, because I didn't eat for like, weeks. I couldn't eat anything because I just kept throwing it back up. And I was in the most insecure, unconfident position I'd ever been in my life. I remember I put my school uniform to go back on when I had like recovered a little bit, and it was so baggy on me. Like I really didn't want to go to school. I was so insecure.
And what age was this?
It was in year 11, so 15.
That's like a rough time anyway. You don't need that.
So then I had to go to prom as well, and I was like mega skinny and insecure.
Aww.
And it was just like, it was like a real bad position of my life. So and then that was what encouraged me. So then I decided to put football on hold, just because I thought I just want to get into the gym. I just want to feel more confident about myself and just get like a little bit more in shape. Yeah. So then it was kind of a good thing because I really like found the true passion for the gym at that point, because I was at so low. I couldn't go any lower. I was just like progressing so much, and I just really fell in love. Like I remember I used to set my phone up on Snapchat and record like every single exercise I did, and I would like track, like go up by like 1.25 kg like every like on like a chest press and I would literally I've looked back and it's just like it's quite interesting. It was just I was hooked on progressing in the gym, and that was kind of what set my love for the gym.
I mean that whole experience must have just been awful for you and your family, but the fact that something so brilliant came out of it, I guess, is like a blessing in a way.
It is.
And I guess you can like look back on the progress you've made and feel really proud of yourself. So obviously you're passionate about the gym, and it's become a big part of your life, but at what point did you decide to compete in bodybuilding?
So I've always liked to push myself. So when I used to play football, I was always like, I always wanted to try and do the best I could. So like, for example, if there was like football trials and stuff, I would always make an effort to go to them, even if I didn't feel like I was gonna like be accepted to the team or whatever. I just wanted to always push myself and go to these trials and things like that. So when I was doing the gym, I've been doing it for quite a while, and I just thought, like, what is the hardest challenge I can do with the gym? Now I thought, like a natural bodybuilding show. So I told people that I was going to do it, and I just went and did it. That was literally it.
Wow.
I just decided I just wanted to do something really hard. And then
so for people like me who aren't very educated about the world of bodybuilding, Talk me through kind of the process you have to go through in order to step on stage. I know you normally go through like a bulk and then you'll cut as part of the prep, but give me a little walkthrough.
Yeah, so essentially, ever since I was younger, like ever since I started the gym, I was pretty much on a bulk the entire time. I had never really cut down, just because obviously I was like a skinny kid. Same for a lot of other skinny kids. Like you never really cut down. You're just bulking for the majority of your gym life. So I got to a point where I felt like I'd built a decent amount of muscle. I was happy with the way I looked, and I thought, right, time's like to do it now. So when you start the prep, it's normally, it can vary, but it's anywhere between, I'd say, 12 to even upwards of like 20 weeks of preparation. Mine was 15, so pretty much in the middle. And you basically cut your calories pretty much instantly. For about 12 weeks, I think I was eating 1,500 calories every day.
And what's your like maintenance?
Probably about 2,800.
Wow.
I'd say 2,700.
So that's a big
So it's a big
deficit
deficit. And you're always, so you do about, well, this was just personal for me, but I did 10,000 steps every day.
Yep.
And then I did about 15 minutes of cardio a day. And obviously it's a very strict, you eat the same meal every single day, same 5 meals every single day. And it's very low carbohydrate. Not because carbs make you fat, because obviously they don't, but it's just because when you're prepping yourself for a bodybuilding show, you need to deplete all of your glycogen stores. So everything needs to just be as low as possible. So, and then when you do fill up on that bodybuilding show, you're going to the carbs are going to come in. You're going to be like really sensitive to the carbs, everything like that. So you need to just basically cut that out for as long as you can. And then when you do step on stage, but I mean, it was very hard.
And what was the training like? Similar to
Training's pretty much the same. Obviously, it's just not very enjoyable because you have absolutely no energy.
Exactly.
But the training is pretty much the same as you would do in a bulk. You're just trying to maintain as much strength as you can.
Yeah.
But
like kind of cut back the muscle that's already there.
Yeah.
But I saw a video that you made about kind of reflecting on the prep side of things, and obviously you said that it was like 15 weeks. You're on extremely low calories. You also said that you ended up having quite a bad relationship with food. So just for everyone listening, how did you feel physically and mentally during that time?
So when I look back on it, I see that I was actually quite in a bad space. But at the time, I was just so hyper fixated on completing this goal.
Yeah.
That was all that was in my head, because I remember speaking to a few of my friends and they said I was miserable. But on the camera, I was very good at like pretending I wasn't. Like I would literally be like really like down in the dumps, and then as soon as I pulled my camera out to film a video, I'd be like, "Oh, hey guys, yeah, I'm literally just doing this right now." And I would and then as soon as I turned the camera off, I'd be straight face, because I just wanted to bring the energy to the videos, and because I know how many people were enjoying the series. But at the time, I didn't really find it like too hard, because I was just so focused on the goal. But now I look back, I was like, God, I was pretty miserable while I was doing that. And I spoke to my friend, and he was like, Joel, when I met up with you it was like 5 weeks out, he was like, you're not in a good space.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting to hear that, because I think sometimes the whole world of bodybuilding gets quite glamorized, and people don't actually talk about how hard it is and the toll that it actually takes on you, both physically and mentally. But you did say, despite all of that when you stepped on stage, it was one of the best days of your life.
Oh, it was amazing, yeah. It was so good.
Why? Like, what was the experience
because,
like?
The journey, number one. Not only just the journey of the prep, but almost like the journey of when I very first started the gym, knowing that like when I first began the gym, I would never thought I would be capable of doing something like this. So it was almost like just the journey of everything combined. And when I actually stood on the stage, and I knew that because I was so strict on myself in prep. There were a lot of people who, not a lot of people, but some bodybuilders will like cheat here and there.
Cut corners.
Like, yeah. And I was so laser focused. There was one time when I did a video of Joe Phaser, and I did eat 4 Krispy Kreme donuts. That was one time. But I was just so laser focused in. And then when I actually finally made it up there, it was just so good, just knowing that I told myself I was going to do something, and then you do it. It's just, there's no better feeling.
I think that's such a key thing. And actually, I've been reflecting on a lot about what motivates me. And I think a big thing is doing the things I said I was going to do.
Yeah, 100%.
And when I do that and I like tick it off, even if it's like I've hit my to-do list, like I go to sleep that night feeling so proud of myself.
Yeah.
And I guess the other part of your journey to get onto stage is about embracing that delayed gratification rather than binging on immediate pleasures, which would be the Krispy Kreme donuts. You know, like you've made so much sacrifice to then step on stage, and you did pretty well. You came second. Like you must have been proud of yourself.
Oh, I was extremely proud of myself. No, I was honestly so proud of myself, because when I did first begin it, so originally I was meant to do a 20-week prep. Yeah. And then I just realized I think that might be a little bit too long for me. So I cut it back. So I cut it back to about 15 weeks. And then I remember there was like so many people commenting like, Joel, you're not giving yourself enough time. Like this is going to be pretty much like, you're not going to be able to get lean enough. So when I did get lean enough, I was just so shocked that I actually, because I was, like, I don't want to like be bragging about it, but I was honestly so impressed with myself that I actually managed to stay so locked in. Yeah. Because like, speak to my family members. It was the only thing that was on my mind. Obviously, I'm lucky enough that it was my full-time job. I didn't have to work a job alongside this. Yeah. I'm not like oblivious to that. Yeah. Because the people who do bodybuilding prep and work a 9-to-5 job, they're some sort of different breed. But yeah, I wanted to ask you, I think sometimes there's a bit of misunderstanding around bodybuilding. Obviously, people see you posing on stage in tiny pants with this like really dark spray tan. What would you say to people who might not understand why you wanted to do that? So this is a conversation I have with my mum a lot. Yeah. Because when I was doing it, my mum was like, Joel, why are you doing this? So you're pretty much... So it's weird because every other day, I can't remember who said this. I think it might have been James Smith. Yeah. Every other sport, the day that you compete, you are like the most healthiest and like on it as ever. And the day on bodybuilding show, you're the unhealthiest you've ever been. Like weakest. You're weakest. You're in the worst mental space of your life. Obviously, you've got a bit of like the adrenaline going for the show day. Yeah. But I feel like it's not really, there's not much to explain, to be honest, because it's a bit like weird. Yeah. It is a bit odd. But for you, I guess it was that thing of I want to challenge myself. That was essentially the reason why I did it, just to challenge myself. But I think that is the reason why majority of a lot of people do it. They just want to see how much progress they've made in the gym, and then obviously you cut down to these extreme levels of body fat, and then just really just show the physique that you've managed to build over the years. Of course. Yeah. So my original plan was to then ask you how you're going to prepare for the next show and what you're going to do differently. But from our conversation beforehand, it sounds like you've had a bit of a change of heart in terms of competing. So, like I said, the first time I did the bodybuilding show, I was just so laser focused. It was all I thought about every single day. I just wanted to prove myself that I could do it. And at the time, I thought it was because I loved bodybuilding, because I was so focused on it. I thought bodybuilding, this is what I love to do. This is what I really enjoy. And I absolutely love the process, even though it was one of the hardest things I've ever done. And when I finished it, I was in like the worst mental space ever. Like, I literally just, not even just my physique, looking in the mirror, and I wasn't feeling like I was enough. Like content wise, everything that I put out, I just felt like it was never going to be as good as what I did for the bodybuilding prep, never going to be as interesting. And it led me to like not post as much as I would like to, because I was just thinking everything in a negative light. Yeah. Even though I was getting really good, I was getting a lot of positive things happen in my life. Like I became a Gymshark athlete, which was like my dream for so long. But even when I became that, I was just feeling so lost. Like I didn't know what to do with myself. And so recently, it was about 2 months ago, I decided that I would compete again this year. Yeah. And I thought that it would, itch that thing in my mind. This is what I need to do. I want to do another bodybuilding show. I want to just go for it and give my all. And then the last 2 months, as I've been doing this bulking phase to prepare for it again, I've been absolutely miserable. I've realized to myself, this isn't what I want to do. I think the reason why I did the bodybuilding show in the first place was to challenge myself, not because of the love of bodybuilding. So I am going to make the decision to not continue with bodybuilding. I don't know if that's going to be the plan forever.
Yeah.
I might next year decide I want to do bodybuilding again. But just for the time being, I just want to focus on myself and try something new. So I'm 99% sure I'm going to set myself a challenge to do basically the complete opposite of a bodybuilding show and do a Road to Ironman prep series.
Mm-hmm.
But do you know Nick Bear?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to do it similar to him. So I'm going to still going to try and maintain a lot of my muscle.
Yeah.
Not going to try and just go like complete runner physique.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with that, but obviously I want to like keep my gym stuff going as well, because I know there's a lot of people who watch me for the gym. So I want to try and balance both as much as I can and just really set myself, because that was why I set myself for the bodybuilding goal in the first place, because I thought it was going to be really, really hard. And this Ironman, I don't think it's going to be easy at all. I think it's going to literally be the hardest thing I've ever done. But it's got that like drive in me again. It's like kind of got that fire going again.
Yeah.
And I like feel like passionate to actually go ahead with this and like give it my all again.
I love that.
Yeah.
I said to you before that I think it's a brilliant idea, because as much as people probably enjoy watching your content for the bodybuilding side of things, people also just buy into you and they want to see you do well and they want to follow you along on your journey. And I think this goal to do an Ironman is just gonna, you know, give you that renewed motivation.
Yeah, 100%.
Which I think we all need sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
So how are you feeling about it? Obviously, it is going to be quite a transition from, you know, your like normal gym routine. Do you have like a course of action? You've got a coach? Or
so I've been talking to someone to help me get a coach.
Yeah.
Haven't got a coach just yet. But the plan is I'm going to Paris on the weekend with my girlfriend. And then when I get back, start the training for that. But so I honestly have no idea how this is going to go. I don't know what my baseline fitness is.
Yeah.
I have absolutely no clue, but I think that's going to be the best thing about it, because it's going to show that you really can achieve anything you put your mind to. So if I do the first episode and people are probably going to be watching thinking, bro, this is hopeless. You're not doing an Ironman. I'm sorry, you're not doing it. But I just know you can achieve anything you put your mind to. So that's just kind of the whole thing that I want to get across to my viewers. Just you can set yourself goals that seem absolutely unachievable, but if you put the work in, you stay consistent, you can do it. And that was the whole reason why I did the show. That's the whole reason why I want to do this as well. Just
that's a good message. I think that's really inspiring for people to hear. And I think it's interesting as well where the world of like fitness is kind of going is people are moving away slightly from the aesthetics. Like obviously you're always going to have your Mr. Olympias, like your Chris Bumsteads, your Ryan Terrys, who are competing year in, year out. Like that is their thing. But I think for the majority of people, they're starting to realize that having a performance-based goal is also really important, rather than just, I want to look as good as I can. It's like, that's why High Rocks has become so popular, because I was listening to a talk with the founder, and he was saying, obviously you've got all these people who train in the gym, but there wasn't a competition for them. The competition sort of was bodybuilding, but then, as we've explained, to go through that whole process, you don't actually end up being that fit and that strong.
Course,
is that where you kind of see like your journey going as well? Like you want to test your physical fitness?
I think so, I think it's a thing with age as well. I'm not saying I'm old or anything, but I feel like when you first get into the gym, like you just said, most people, all they want to do is look good. Like a lot of teen boys, when they get into the gym, they just want to look as big and as lean as possible. And as you get older, you just kind of think, that's not everything. Looking good is not everything. And like I said, I don't really get as much enjoyment and fulfillment from doing that anymore. Just trying to look as good as possible. So, and like you say, you're not even healthy, because a lot of people who are like on a permanent bulk, just bulking all the time, you're not thinking about your health at all.
You're out of breath.
You're just trying to, literally, you will get calories in from anywhere. Just like, I know obviously, like I was actually listening to your one with Joe Fazer, and he said about how like skinny guys get like junk food in. But you can sometimes get to a point where you just completely forget about your health, and all you're thinking about is building muscle. Just, I just want to get some calories in. Don't care where they come from. Just want to build some muscle. And you can just completely forget your health. Because, I mean, I played a game of 5-side football not long ago. And I was so out of breath.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking, I don't particularly want to be like this, to be honest. I kind of want to make a bit of a change and just try to be a bit healthier because, in no means, I don't think I'm healthy at all. Well, I am healthy, but I'm not like, from what you see, good physique. He's probably a very healthy guy.
Yeah.
Not really.
That perception's really interesting.
Yeah.
I saw this new rom-com recently. It's called Anyone But You.
Oh, yeah, I watched that.
Yeah.
What are you going to say about when they're in the sea?
Yeah. And she says to him, because they're swimming out to sea, and I can't remember the actor's name. But this guy is like incredibly fit.
Yeah.
Like he is chiseled. And they're like swimming out to sea, and he's like,
he
I don't do cardio. And she's like, oh, you're hot girl fit.
Yeah.
Like you look good, but you're not actually that healthy, which I think is just so funny. Something I wanted to just briefly talk about is something we were mentioned earlier, is how a lot of the rhetoric around going to the gym is about grinding, working in silence, fighting your demons, like the gym being an escape. And you actually said something really interesting, is that it shouldn't be like that. The gym should be something that adds to your life. Just wondered if you could expand on
so
that.
I feel like you just said, a lot of people, they kind of see the gym as the only thing that is good in their life, which I completely understand. There are people who are going through really hard times, and it's much better to turn into drugs or partying or anything like that. Like, I understand, like, going to the gym is your highlight of the day, and you can just put your headphones on, you can zone out, you can just get into it. And I completely understand that. But I feel like there's a really bad perception in the gym right now where people just feel like they have to be depressed to go to the gym. Like, they're just all about like this, no one understands. Like, the gym's the only thing that makes me happy. And it's quite sad because I feel like people need to start seeing gym from another perspective. The gym is meant to make your life better, because at the end of the day, the gym, when it was created, but I mean, like, when like people started going to the gym and stuff, it was just meant to make your life better. It was all it was meant to do. You're meant to be healthier. You're meant to like look better. So when you do other stuff, when you go to your job, you feel more confident. If you go out on, like, I don't know, you go to a festival, you go out with your friends, you feel more confident, you look better.
So right.
More healthier. Instead of like thinking that the gym is just some sort of like horrible place where you go in and you just really just beat yourself up. That's not really what the gym was for in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. And also, you can be in like incredible shape and, you know, be in the gym every day, but you might be like just a miserable person.
Exactly.
And no fun to be around. Yeah. And the gym just occupies your whole life. And I think sometimes people slightly get it wrong because they think that that's them bettering themselves, but actually, like, no one's going to remember you for just being by yourself and going to the gym every day.
Like, it's completely fine to have strict goals and like have a very gym orientated life, but if you're just saying no every single time someone wants you to come out, I can't, I've got to stick to my diet plan, I've got to be on training, you're going to make yourself in this little box where you are just the gym guy. That's all you are. People know you as the gym guy. They don't see you as anything else. And obviously, I'm not saying you need to live for other people's perception of you, but if you just get hooked on this whole just gym is gym, that's all I do is gym, you're going to find yourself, it may seem like it makes you happy right now, but if you just get into that perception, you're going to find yourself going down a decline just because you're going to start like pushing people away. You're not going to be seeing people as much. Yeah. And it's just good balance. You've got to have balance.
Absolutely.
You need to have balance.
Honestly, I tried to preach that so much on this podcast because obviously we talk a lot about health and fitness and self-improvement, but there's so much that goes into that beyond just how good is your training and how dialed in are you with your diet. It's
how big are your arms?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. You mentioned in a YouTube video as well, you were kind of giving like happiness advice to people. And I thought that was really nice because obviously people are watching you for your gym content and like, oh, what's he eating? How's he training? All of that kind of thing. And you said in that actually progress makes you happy.
Yeah.
Like seeing yourself improve, and whether it's your content, like seeing content do well.
Yeah.
Like for you, you might not have like thought about it this deeply, but why do you think making progress matters?
I think it's literally just as simple, just as I just feel myself getting better.
Yeah.
That's literally all it comes down to. Just because I know I don't need to progress every single day, but I want to be better than I was a year ago.
Yeah.
Like I don't need to progress every single day. It's not like I wake up and I'm like, all right, if I haven't progressed today, I'm going to go home and I'm going to literally just cry myself to sleep. But it's like, yeah, like progression in everything. Even like, so recently I've been hanging out with a few friends from school, and just like saying yes to them asking me out, like to go out with them. It's just like progression in like social aspects.
Yeah.
Just like trying to just be the person that I want to be every single day, and trying to progress in all areas of my life, socially, in the gym, in my career, with my family. Literally just trying to just be better every single day.
Honestly, I'm exactly the same. Yeah. And I don't really know where it comes from, but it's a massive reason why I started this podcast, is because I've always felt this sort of pressure to better myself. And like you said, there's so many different ways I can do that. Like the gym is one of them, but recently I've thinking like, how can I be a better friend? Like just trying to do nice things for my friends and making the effort to see them. How can I be a better daughter? Like checking in with my mom, like giving her a phone call more often. We're pretty close, so it's not that hard, but you know, there's so many things. And something I spoke about with Mo Gaudat as well, that like when you start treating life that way, all these little things that you do, it's like these skills that you're building up. And that's how you become a better person, because you can then be put in any situation and you're like, I'm going to be good. I can deal with this.
I agree. Because that was one thing I set myself. One of my New Year's resolutions was to just say yes.
Same.
That's like why I'm on this podcast. I just say yes. Just
I love it.
Because a lot of the times I would like find excuses like, oh, can we be bothered to get a 3-hour train? Well, yeah, of course I can. Like, it's like, I might as well just try and do as much as I can with my life. Like, if my friend asked me to the cinema, I was thinking about bailing. Well, what's the point? I might as well just go and just have a good time.
That's so good.
Just trying to just say yes to as much stuff as possible.
Just say yes. And my new thing is, what's the worst that's going to happen?
Exactly.
Every time I think about doing something and I worry about it, what's the worst that's going to happen? Someone says no. Someone doesn't reply to you. It's not that deep. And
it's been helping a lot recently. Because I'm quite a person, I get really anxious or really bad anxiety, but saying yes to pretty much everything that anyone asks me to do, it's helped so much for that. Like normally if I was on the way to this podcast, I'd be like so anxious. I'd be worrying, but because I've been like doing so much stuff recently, I wasn't really anxious, because it's just like practice, isn't it? If you're saying yes and you're going out with, like, if you don't go out with people and you don't see a lot of people all the time, if you're going to do something socially, of course you're going to be nervous because you don't do it very often. So just like trying to like practice, like if you're someone who feels like, I don't know, if you're anxious to go to the gym, you're anxious to hang out with people, just make a conscious effort to try and do that more. And then you'll find yourself, you won't be anxious about it. It will just be like second nature to you.
It's like building a muscle in the gym.
Exactly.
You strengthen your muscle.
Exactly, yeah.
So something that was really big that obviously happened for you, Gymshark.
Yeah. Gymshark.
You said in like the announcement video that it was something you'd worked towards, and then it was a dream come true. Just for everyone listening, how did that come about? And obviously, how did you feel reaching such a big milestone at that age?
So yeah, it was pretty much something I had always dreamed of ever since I started watching fitness content, watching like David Lade, stuff like that. Just I was like, oh my god, Gymshark athlete. That is something I would love to be one day. Didn't think it would. Honestly, I know everyone says this. I didn't think it would be possible. I actually just didn't even think it was on the cards.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't even know I was going to make fitness content at the time. I just thought that seems so cool. Like they're like traveling about with like and meeting loads of like people. They're all training together. It just looks so much fun. And I was always wanted to do something like that. So when Gymshark first got in contact with me, it was to do something with James. Me and James hadn't been with Gymshark at this time. James Beardwell.
Yeah. And
so me and James went down, and we were sat in the car. We were literally so nervous. I'd thrown up on the way to, and James. I've got like a video of James. I'm filming him on the vlog, and literally, guys, literally shaking like crazy because we had only just started like doing fitness stuff. And so then when we went into the Gymshark lifting club and we met everyone, honestly, some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life.
Team.
Such nice people, and they're just so welcoming. And as soon as I got to like meet all the Gymshark people, I knew this is like kind of like enclosed in my brain. This is definitely, I want to be a Gymshark athlete, because they say they're like a family. They actually are like a family. Like, they are really, honestly, just the kindest people. They just always want you to do as well as possible. So and then James and I kept going like back and forth to events, and then James got asked to be an athlete, and I didn't. And obviously at the time, I'm not gonna lie, obviously I was upset.
Yeah.
I was really upset. Yeah. Because I felt like it was either me or James, and James had got the opportunity. And obviously I was really happy for him.
Yeah, but you can be happy for someone else and sad for yourself at the same time.
Inside, it was still one of the like most. I was really upset that day. I was like to my mum, I was like, Mum, I've missed out. So and then another year goes past, and I get signed with Gymshark, but on an influencer deal, because they do like this thing where they got like influencer deals and they've got an athlete deal. So basically, I was an influencer with Gymshark. So I was sponsored by Gymshark, and then I did my bodybuilding show, and then they offered me to be an athlete after that. So
that's amazing.
It was like all that time, and then like James called me, and we had like a nice little chat, and it was just really nice, because me and James, we'd always wanted to be athletes together, and then now you are. Yeah, I
love that. Yeah, honestly, massive congratulations.
Thank you.
So just to wrap this podcast up, running out of time a little bit, unfortunately. Yeah, okay. But I ask everybody the same question. You might have heard. Yeah. If you had to give someone some advice or share a quote or a mantra to help people achieve their personal best, what would it be?
Simple as be the best you. That's literally it. Just because so many people say, I want to be David Lade. It doesn't matter how hard you try, you're never going to be David Lade. You're never going to be him. Just like how I don't know, for example, no one's ever going to be able to be me. It's impossible. But no one's ever going to be able to be you. So there's no point comparing yourself. It's obviously good to get inspiration from people, but you can only be the best you, and no one else can do that. You can't be anyone else, and they can't be you. So literally just try and focus on your own goals and work towards just bettering yourself every day, because comparison it's just one of the worst things.
It really
if you're constantly comparing yourself, you're going to get yourself in an absolute rut. You're going to really like hurt yourself mentally, because it was something that I always do. Especially, you might even do it yourself a little bit, especially like being in the podcast scene, seeing what other people's podcasts are up to, like, why am I not doing as good as that? And it gets yourself in a real rut sometimes.
Absolutely.
So I feel like the best thing to do is to just completely focus on your own goals. Yeah. And just try to just do you.
Definitely. No one can beat you at being you.
Exactly. They can't.
I always think that to myself. And I think as well with the comparison thing, you tend to compare yourself to someone in a really narrow domain. For example, I might look at another podcaster and be like, well, their podcast is more successful than mine. But if you kind of zoom out a little bit, you don't think about the rest of the context. Like, they might have a shit home life. They might, suffer with like mental illness. Like, there's so many different points of comparison. So there's no point just focusing on one thing. Yeah. You may as well just like focus on your own journey. Yeah. And as you explained earlier with the progress thing, like compare yourself to the past you. Because that way, like, you become so laser focused on your own goals. Yeah. And I just think it's so important, because especially with this social media world, it's so easy to compare yourself.
Oh, it's so easy. I catch myself doing it all the time. And it just upsets you. You never get any good from it.
No, you don't.
So just don't bother.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Unless you're going to take inspiration.
Yeah, if you're going to take inspiration. But a lot of the time, if you're like, I'm just going to go check what he's doing. And then you see, and then he's like, I don't know, he's doing something with a cool company or something. You're like, that should have been me. And then you just start getting in your head. And
Exactly. So where can people go if they want to find you online?
They can find me at JDaverFit. Yeah. On TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for today.
Thank you very much for having me.
I've really, really enjoyed it, actually.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
I really enjoy these types of conversations where I get to speak with fitness influencers like yourself, content creators, because I think people only see the surface. Obviously with YouTube, they get to know you a little bit more, but there's still so much depth to it. And I think sometimes it's easy to look at people like yourself and just think, oh, they've just got a dumbbell between their head. Like, there's no brains there. Yeah. But actually, it's just completely not the case. And with every conversation I've had on this podcast, I've really realised that, is that everyone's got so much to share and so much good advice that I hope is really, really going to help everyone listening. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for listening.